Hey everybody, gonna give people a minute to get in here. I am way late from when I intended to go live just because life happens. So right now you're staring at a little table. I'm going to put some baby Borneos that I have available on there for viewing. So give me a minute here. Like I said, we'll let some people start coming in, and then we'll start showing off stuff that's going to be available. So, let me grab the first animal here. Now this one is not available yet. It's an animal that will be available at some point, but it has not really taken off with feeding very well. As you'll probably see, it's fairly small. This animal here is a female. She's really cool looking. She's got a nice dorsal stripe. Temperament-wise, she's not bad. She's a little weary. But for whatever reason, she hasn't wanted to take rodents yet. She's actually on frozen thawed quail. So I need to get her onto rodents before she would become available. And I want her to obviously put on some size, because you'll see her siblings are substantially larger than she is. I haven't really thrown the book at her. I haven't really, tried to scent over quail to rodents yet. So I'm not overly concerned, but obviously I'm not going to send a snake out of here that's not eating anything that is offered. So, like I said, she's not available at the moment, but if somebody's interested in her and wants to be alerted when she is ready, that's an option to do. I wouldn't take any deposit or anything on her. And I haven't really decided on pricing yet. It's really going to depend on when she decides to figure it out. Here we go again where I can't see anything. There we go. Hey guys. So that's baby number 1 from Orion to Lilith that you just looked at. This is her sibling. This is baby number 4 here. So you'll see there's a substantial size difference. She actually hatched, I think, a day before this one did. Number 4 here is a male. Number 4 eats anything, does not care. Once again, nice dorsal striping, real funky pattern in here. These Borneos that we're looking at now are the, hey Justin, are the ones that were in the Borneo clutch video that I did outside. So these are those ones. And you can see the difference in personality though. The last female was moving around a lot more, was a little more erratic than this one. This one's kind of just staying put. That said, I do think you could probably push this one to the point where it might strike. It's not overly defensive, but it's just a little bit more weary. And it's weird because it's less nervous in certain aspects and more nervous in others. So it's a little bit more weary of me and handling, but it was much more comfortable being put on that surface there and wasn't as concerned just sitting there. But I do think that this male would make a really nice animal for any project. It's got a little bit of that gray coloration in that seems to come in a little bit later with this stuff. Usually by about 2 years old, I really start to see it come in. So he would be a male that would be interesting to somebody. And I should have had my pricing list with me on these, but I don't. So all of these Borneos from this clutch that are left at this point are going to be probably in the $300 to $400 range, give or take. So if you are interested, it'll be somewhere around there. So that's number 4, number 5, number 6 would be the next one. I'm on the wrong level. So this one is one that is another one that kind of took a while to really start feeding. It's actually feeding better now. It is on frozen thawed mice. Just won't tong feed. It wants them left in the tub. This one is a really cool looking baby. This one here is a female. And this is another one that I'm going to want to get a few meals into before I were to release it. Her last 2 meals in a row now, she's taken frozen thawed mice. She was another one that was doing the quail thing to start. Let me just check up on there. I keep having to bring the chat up, which is very annoying. Yeah, the Dolphins winning was pretty crazy. I did not expect that today. I'm happy, but I didn't get to watch the game. And I happened to check the score, and I was like, what the hell? We were up like 30-7 at halftime or something. Garoppolo got pulled, so I was very surprised. I wish I could have watched the game, but I don't have cable or anything, so all my money basically goes to trying to feed my animals and pay bills, so there's no luxuries here like that. But yeah, so this female I think is really awesome. So this is one that I would want to have take probably 3 or 4 more meals in a row before I felt good about sending her out. Temperament-wise, she's pretty decent. Yeah, people have offered me to watch for free before on like Reddit and stuff like that, but it's way too complicated for me. I don't have patience for technology, so I just get really frustrated, and if it doesn't work right away, I'm done. I don't have patience for shit not working out. It makes me so angry, and I start to sweat, and then I get annoyed that I'm sweaty, and it just ruins my whole mood. My blood pressure goes through the roof. I'm just not a technology person. I don't even own a computer. I haven't owned a computer since like 2015 because I just can't deal with them. I hate computers. So that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, this female's, she's a little nervous at times, but she's usually pretty good. Let me see if I can't get you guys a good view. Like, she's got a lot of cool stuff going on. This is one of those girls where if nobody buys her, I will not care. There's a lot of ultra influence in there. She's got a lot of sideswipe-like qualities, but I don't think that she's sideswipe. But you can see through there, it's really, really kind of crazy. And she's a very, like, mocha caramel type color, which Lilith's baby, she's produced a few like this that are just funky. So I think she's got a lot of qualities going on. And yes, she was a slow starter, but I don't assist feed or anything. So everything she's ate has been on her own. She just took a while to kind of figure it out. Let me put her back. Give me 1 second because she needs some water, so I'm going to give her water while I'm going in here. Well, you gotta stop spilling your shit. Now the next one up, let me see, what do we got? That one is mine, so that one's not available. This guy. What kind of mood are we in today, buddy? You know, you can't take the water dish with you. This is a male. This is number 9. This is another baby that I think is really cool looking. He's got kind of an orangish head. And he's got really funky colors going on throughout his pattern. Nice contrasts. He looks to me like he might be headed for a shed cycle because he's usually a little bit more orange through there. And he just looks dull in general. He's eating well. He was one that didn't want to switch to frozen for a few meals, but he's on frozen now just fine. But he's always eaten. When I'm trying to switch them to frozen, if they don't want to take it, sometimes I'll make them skip a week or 2 here or there, try to kind of really convince them what it is. So he looks a little bit smaller than that really big guy, but it's not because he wasn't eating. It was just because I was trying to kind of force him into the frozen rotation, which, you know, eventually worked. Oh yeah, watching on my phone drives me nuts too. It's too small of a screen. Like, I need it on the TV. I can't watch games on my phone. It makes me nuts. I'm very, very picky with that kind of stuff. I'd rather not watch at all than have to watch on a tiny little screen. And my TV doesn't do screen mirroring, so can't do that. But this guy, I think, would make a really interesting project to work with. He's a male when he hatched. I've kind of thought about maybe holding him back and putting him to Astra someday. because I think he's the closest to kind of her funk and contrast, but I'm not entirely sure. So for now, he's for sale, and it'll be one of those things where if he doesn't move and he's of breeding age, maybe he gets a crack at her. And obviously, if he's still here at breeding age, I would definitely just keep him. But he's a cool male. I think he would make somebody a really cool project. If you have some Borneos with nice color you want to pull out, I think that's a good way to do it. Hi, bag of dicks. You took a nasty poop. All right. This guy does not look like he's going to play nice, so let's see how this goes. Come on. So this is, I'm pretty sure this is a male. I'm going to have to check. I can't check right now with him in my hands. I really wish my lighting was better. I just don't have good lighting. I probably should have pulled all these snakes out to the kitchen to at least a little better in there. I tried using the white background, moving the light over here, trying a different angle. I just can't get good lighting in this room no matter what I do. I rent, so I can't like put in lighting fixtures, so it's got to be standing light, and getting standing light to go down and do all that just doesn't really work well. And I'm not Oprah, so I can't go out and buy lighting like some of these YouTube people do that are rich. You know, I can't even pay my rent, so there's no lighting getting purchased. But let me check while he's down. 11. Yeah, so this is a male. He's got a nice tail stripe. He has a lot of dorsal striping. Obviously, it breaks up a little bit in spots through there. But he still carries enough striping where if you're putting him to a stripe project, he will definitely pass that on and throw that to where you want. Got a lot of the cool side swipe-like qualities that a lot of this clutch has, where it's kind of on the edge, where I can't call it side swipe, but it has a lot of tendencies. Mixing it with whatever Lilith has going on just really makes the stuff a lot more convoluted. Some of it comes out real clear, and then others not so much. But that gray that she has, that her babies seem to get, is something I really want to play with. This animal doesn't have a ton of that, but he does have some through there where that might lighten up in time. It's hard to say. I've only done 2 clutches, so it's with this particular female, so being Lilith. So I can't really tell you, well, this is how her babies are going to turn her out, because I only have 3 holdbacks from the first clutch of hers. Well, actually 2 are holdbacks, and 1 was going to be sold, and then I just kind of kept her. And those are only like 2 years old or whatever they are now. So I don't have enough time to say for sure what goes on with that, but I've seen some of the babies that I sold from her. Really, really funky, really cool. The one male that I have from her is just stellar. I'm hoping he's going to breed this year. And I'm wrong, actually. Those babies are 3 years old this year. Monopolize away. I'm not even really seeing much of the chat right now. It keeps going away. So general temperament of Borneo similar to Sumatrans? No. Generally speaking, it's not. Sumatrans are just calm all the time. I know people out there that say they have ones that are not. I mean, I've been keeping them for a long time. I've never seen one that was remotely even dramatic, really. Morticia's the worst that I've ever had personally, and she'll sit on my lap for hours. She just doesn't want to go outside. Or she doesn't want to be put in bare plastic unless she puts herself in bare plastic. So that's literally the meanest Sumatran I've ever seen. But I have heard stories from people. Borneos just tend to be more dramatic. So some of my Borneos are great, but they're more floppy. Sumatrans really don't flop that much. Borneos, if they feel like it's time to flop, they'll flop, which is a pain in the ass. And you know, it makes everything difficult, especially the ones that don't grow out of it. Like my male ocelot is impossible to deal with because he flops as an adult, and they're so strong that if you try to restrain him, he'll hurt himself trying to break free of it. If you let him kind of hang loose, he'll flop himself off into the air. Where he's located, he's in my ARS rack, and he's located about 3 feet above the trash can and like to the left of the trash can about 2 feet, and he's landed in there at least 5 times in the last, like 8 months. He just flops into the air, flips over there, and lands in the trash can. It's really annoying. I really am not fond of that snake, but he just doesn't seem to want to change. See if you can get some decent angles on this guy here and see a little bit of him. But, I would consider this baby here to be somewhat edgy, but you can see there's no, he's not being defensive or anything. But this is one where if you just reached in and grabbed him out of his tub and caught him by surprise, he might give you a little bit of a defensive shot. But if you pick him up right and you handle him right, he's not bad at all. Obviously I'm handling him for this. I'm putting him back. He's doesn't really care. Let's see. That one I'm keeping. That one's sold to somebody else. So now we'll move into the stuff that's from the Granite and Marble clutch. So the next babies I'm going to show you are from a different pairing. This is one of the joint projects that I did with Rob up at Nerd. Blood Python temperament. Bloods I find also to be more on the dramatic side. They don't necessarily flop as much, but I think they're probably the ones that are most apt to strike when they feel like it's necessary. I think Borneos would rather flop first and bite if that doesn't work. Curtis would just rather sit there and look at you like you're stupid and just wait for you to not do what you're doing. Blood pythons, if you push their buttons, they'll bite. But you could have examples of all three that run the full gauntlet of temperament. So there's no guarantees. I just find Sumatrans to be the calmest. I think most people would agree. All right, let me see who's where over here. Not you. Oh, you're fucking gross. I mean, not really gross. You just spilled your water everywhere, but amounts to the same. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you spill your water, jerk. So this baby is from the Granites and Marble pairing. I'm just going to get a paper towel because she's a little wet. She dumped her water and she has a fairly sizable water dish. Let me see. Oh. Yeah, they do strike very, very hard. They don't have big teeth, so their bites really aren't bad. But if you bruise easy, you're bruising. If you bruise mildly easy, you're bruising. I've never had them bruise me. I've never really had one get that mad at me and take that big of a shot. I've had a couple of food bites from adult shorttails where I was just not paying attention, realizing my proximity to the animal when I was holding food out and looking at something else. And sometimes, especially feeding frozen thawed, I'm a hotter heat signature than the food item is. So they'll smell the food and go for it, but they're targeted on the heat. So if I'm not paying attention, I'll get whacked. So like Incognito got me once, Sambuca got me once. And it really just shocks you more than anything. I don't find that it's a painful bite at all. But they do hit hard. So usually the shock is more than anything. This baby here that we're looking at, I gotta switch to a different page. The page I'm on is for the other clutch. Alright, this is numero 7. So this is a female. The father was my male marble. The mother was Rob's Granite, who I believe is Het Ultra. So there is a possibility there's some Ultra floating around in here. Given it's so reduced doing like a Het pairing, it doesn't, because Ultra's funky. It works kind of different ways. I don't see a lot of Ultra type expression in there, but that doesn't mean that Ultra stuff can't pop out. I know in the video where Rich was talking, he was talking about how he has Granite line that had Ultra in it, and eventually he ended up getting like Ultras that didn't show Granite visually from that Granite line. Borneos do a lot of weird shit. If you want cut and dry, easy to understand genetics, this is not the snake for you. So she seems to be all right most of the time. You can see her body language there changed a little bit as I touched her. But not bad. She has really cool speckling on her sides. So if you like that granite and marble type look, this snake really provides that pretty well. Given how it is, I think that it will fade down a little bit as she ages. You know, and her color may change a bit. She has kind of an orangish head now, but I don't know that that'll stay. You can see I just moved my hand and she's unsure about that, but she's not bad at all. You know, and that comes from handling them over time and kind of just getting them used to things. Babies that I'm going to sell, I don't handle. So when you see me handle them in a video, that's basically the only time I touch them, other than to clean them. And cleaning, if I'm cleaning, I'm not holding on to them. I'm literally picking them up, putting them in a tub, shutting that tub, cleaning theirs, putting them back. They don't really get a whole lot of interaction like that, but they're smart enough snakes where that little bit of interaction seems to be enough for them to start to figure out that you're at least not a threat. But then when you take them out and start doing a little bit more, we'll say invasive handling, sometimes they have to kind of learn that you're not out to hurt them. Yeah. So this is the next one, also a female. This one has kind of, in my opinion, cooler sides, but they're less like speckled granite or marble. It's just more kind of oscillated pattern, I guess is the best word I could use for it. She's probably a little bit edgier than the last female, but she's not, you know, out to get anybody or anything. She's just a little bit more defensive in her tub, I would say. So you have to kind of be a little bit more gentle with how you take her out. But obviously she's doing fine, tolerating me picking her up, putting her on an unfamiliar surface, and everything else. Right? You know, I mean, if she wanted to be mean, she would be biting me right now. And she's not. So she's comfortable with what I'm doing. Of course, the tough thing is you'll say that I could send this snake to somebody and she could whale the shit out of you because you don't pick her up the way that I do. And so she's used to what I do, so she has to relearn that how you handle her is safe. So sometimes people will get snakes that are really great with me, and then they might not be so great with you because you're not doing things the same as I am. And it's not one of those things, I can tell you exactly what I do, but it just feels different. And so they have to learn that and kind of figure that out. Oh, this one looks wicked pissed. You also look like you might be going into shed. Now this one here is also female. This clutch was very female heavy. This one might be on hold for somebody. They have first right of refusal on this one. Her temperament's a little She's a little bit edgier than the other two. But with regular handling, she may settle down. So it's just going to be that person's choice on whether they want to put the work in with her. Obviously, she's not maniacal or anything. Baby Borneos that are jerks, you'll know because you will not hold on to them for this long. I promise you that. They would be flopping all over the place, biting, going to the bathroom, doing whatever they need to do to get rid of you. And obviously, she's not doing that. So while she is edgier, you know, she at least tolerates me maneuvering her around. Let me take a look at some of these comments coming through. Yeah, her pattern's really, really cool. I don't know what I just hit. Hopefully I didn't ruin anything. There we go. Just trying to make sure I'm keeping up on stuff. Yeah, she probably has one of the cooler patterns in the clutch. It's just really, really funky and really all over the place. I've never heard of bucking in snakes, so I'm assuming it's probably the same behavior. It's basically like imagine catching a very slippery fish that doesn't want to be held, where they just literally throw their head and tail in whatever direction, flop all around. A lot of times they'll double back over their body and bite you. They'll spray, musk, whatever they have to do. So yeah, it's probably essentially the same thing then. But yeah, she's definitely pretty cool looking. I just got down on her level. My face is towards her face. She's giving me a stink eye. But she's an animal that if you wanted to breed her, I think would add some dynamic to a project. She's got a nice tail stripe. Nice contrasts. She looks a little dull right now. Since I've been back, you know, I've got them pumped up on a little bit heavier feed schedule since I was gone for a couple of weeks. So I have a feeling they're all kind of pushing towards shed cycles right now. Some their first shed, some their second. So usually she's a little bit more contrasty, if I can make up a word. Let's see how picking her up from here is going to go. Yeah, she's all right. You can feel her body language. She's not all about it, but she's letting it happen, and that's what's important. So yeah, I think she's pretty cool and funky. You know, if I was trying to keep a bunch of snakes, that's one that I might keep. But I'm trying not to keep so much this year. Alright, so that was those three. And then Katie and Eric got those two. That one goes to Liz. So we got one more left from this pairing here. Don't do it. No, don't do it. I'm just thinking about flopping. And say we're gonna make it through the whole video, and you know it's gonna be the last one that's a jerk. Now this one has really cool stuff going on down here. Not only with the tail stripe, and you can see the body position and the huffiness. This snake looks like a snake that's not happy about being put in this position. She's not quite in what I call you're screwed position, where they're really ready to fire off, where they get into more like what looks like a bass clef. But she's close. She's got, you know, some of the granite type stuff in there going down. It breaks up a little bit as you get towards her tail into just kind of funkiness. I don't really know how to describe what's going on down there, but it gets this real caramel creamy color. She's definitely one of the more interesting colored babies. I love tail contrast, so I like that dark black going into the cream colors there. Let's see what happens if I actually pick her up. Try to get her to actually sit in my hand here. Here, come here. Do that. So see, even the ones that are huffy, you know, can be handled if you support. Like right now, her body weight's supported. She's up in the air, which is unnatural and away from my body. So she's in a position that makes her nervous. But because I have her whole body supported, she's doing okay. But I can see that she's moving her body and her muscles a little bit to get into a different position because she's not sure what she needs to do. So it's just little subtle things you notice when you're used to working with them all the time. Hey, Aaron. But, you know, cool stuff. So she would be the last one that's available. There's one other one I have that I didn't show. She's really just almost looks like a wild type Borneo, but she's a pain in the ass. And she's gonna have a few more meals yet anyway. So we're gonna hang tight with that one. I think while we're in here, if there's anything else. Dun, da, da, da. What are you doing? Hi. And not food. Just show off one of those snakes I like to show off because this is not for sale, but just one of my Sumatran short tails that I produced. I really like to make dark stuff, and she is a really nice baby. She's got a lot of growing to do. She's probably going to get darker yet, so she may lose some more of that tail color. It's really funny because she's a super, super mellow animal, but I can tell she doesn't like this surface. One thing that I've noticed with Sumatrans is they seem to be, what's the word? You know, like texture. Texture seems to get them. I think like people with autism sometimes have like texture issues, and I'm not saying that Sumatran shorttails have autism, but it's just for whatever reason, certain textures are one of those things that'll get them a little freaked out, and I could tell right away she doesn't like the feeling of that. And her mother and her father actually both are the same way with certain things. A while back, I took some animals to a music video shoot for somebody local, a local artist, and he was wearing a tux, and those snakes sat on my shoulder the whole time while we were waiting. Every time we put them on his shoulders, they couldn't get off of him fast enough. Excuse me, and it wasn't him, it was the material of the tux itself. It made them feel very insecure. And this material is, it's kind of like that, it's that plasticky stuff, and she just doesn't seem to like it. So it's really weird how Sumatrans seem to do that more than anything that I've noticed before. They seem to be texture sensitive. So just one of those awkward things, but I figured while I'm in here showing you this video, I'd show you guys who hung in there for the whole thing. A couple of things. Yeah, the super dark Sumatrans are the best. Yeah, people will probably give me shit for making that comparison, but it's the only thing I can think of. You know, as far as people having texture issues. You know, it's just is what it is. I don't know. Let me grab a Sumatran from this year. Oh, you're dirty. Hi. You smell like pee. Just thought you should know. So this is a Sumatran from this year. So you can see a little less dark right now. You can see more pattern. As they age, that pattern will go away. Well, it doesn't really go away. It just melts into more black. Now let's see how this one is with the texture. This one seems to be handling it a little bit better, but you can see that it's different and it's checking it out. Yeah, so the cool thing about them is if you see these guys as adults, like even Incognito, who's jet black, when she's in shed, you can see all of her pattern again. So it's still there. It's just the colors all get so similar, you can't tell a difference in it. It's almost like being colorblind, basically, is how it is to look at them. But once they go into shed, it's really cool because you can see every circle, every line, different shades of blue and gray and darker and lighter. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, I think I've posted pictures or videos of her before when she's in shed. And it's just really cool to see the comparison because it's mind-blowing that I can look at this snake and I cannot find her pattern, and then she goes into shed and it's clear as day. So it's pretty wild. Definitely one of those things that I enjoy. You want to pick you up? I know, it's a big wide world. But like I said, these are new babies that have not been handled really at all, and you can see just totally chill. You know, you don't really see any signs of defensive behavior. They'll sit there and they'll look at you, like I said, like you're the dumbest person ever. That they will do. But they just don't seem to be all that defensive. I don't feel like getting lit the fuck up, so we're not touching my McLott's pythons. All set with that nonsense. I don't know if anybody else particularly exciting is over here that you guys haven't seen. So we'll probably just wrap things up there. Let me check and see if I missed anything here. I've really got to figure out how to do this chat thing. Grant, I did not see what you're talking about. What are we talking about? Oh, so pumpkin-headed Sumatrans, yes, they're a locality. I don't think they're an island thing. I think they're one of those things, kind of like the Sarawaks, where they're separated by some kind of landmass or something that they don't cross. I think eventually pumpkinheads will either be a subspecies or a different species. Right now, they're all the same species. But there's a lot of differences with them. Please start over. Thank you, Kyle, but I'm not starting over. It's too hot in here. I'm too sweaty. I have things to do. The only snake, well, actually, I picked up 2 snakes this year total. One was the Thai bamboo rat who passed away. I thought I could keep him cool enough, and we had a hotter summer than I think we've ever had here. And I forget what it is, but normally in the summer here we'll get like 6 or 7 days that are like 90 and above, and this year we had like 40. It was something totally crazy different. You know, it was at least 3 times as many, but I think it was like 5 or 6 times as many. And just trying to keep my house cool. I don't have central air or anything, because once again, I'm not Oprah, I'm not rich. So the window units only keep up so much. My house isn't insulated properly, so when the sun beats on it, all the air conditioning in the world just can't keep up, and it got a little too warm for him, so he didn't make it. I had him floor level, away from any kind of heat, everything I could do, but it wasn't enough, so I really fucked that one up. The other snake that I picked up was the T-positive 007. I don't know. Let's see. So he's the one that came from Matt Turner. I know he's in here. I don't know if he's going to tolerate being in this video or not. I haven't really messed with him much since he... All right. Since he's been in this room. Yeah, he's in shed right now, but that's him there. I'm going to put him back, though, because he's in shed. I don't want to mess with him too long. Here you go, buddy. I'm sorry. So he's the other animal that I picked up. I am, fingers crossed, hoping he'll be ready to breed this winter. I think he's going to be a little young. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to hold the females I want to pair him up to. I'm trying to cycle them, you know, stop their cycle as best I can, delay it, which is a total joke because they're just going to go when they want to go. And then I'll try him for a while. If he doesn't pan out, then we'll try him again next year. The 007 is a 2018 animal. But blood pythons just mature when they mature. So you could get one that matures at 18 months, you could get one that matures at 5 years old. And no matter how much food you stuff in them, you can get them bigger, but they mature when they mature. There's really no way that anybody I know of has found to force it. Not that I would want to force it anyway. But yeah, I haven't seen anything that works in that regards. Hi, be a bitch. Yeah, you can fuck right off with that attitude. While we're in here, just so you guys can see somebody else. Here's Astra here, being very vocal. I love her because of that side color. That's that male I was telling you about that I'd like to put to her eventually. Say hi to everybody. She's like, put me back, you cuck. Here, go back in your cage. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the blood pythons. You can't get them there. They're there when they're ready. Ron Burgundy's 4 years old this year. He still hasn't bred for me. If he doesn't breed this year, I'm gonna use some voodoo magic or something, and assume, kind of operate as if he's a female and see what happens there. So I don't know. Yeah, ghost Borneos are nice. Let me see. Hi, buddy. Everybody's so happy to see me. Nighttime. Snakes are always a little edgier. This is sort of white ghost male here. Yeah, he definitely doesn't like that surface. All right, dude. I gotcha. This one was produced by Ryan Rumbley. I've really been slow growing him. I forget how old he is, but he's probably around 2. He's really cool, and he came from a clutch where some weird stuff popped out. And Ryan, being the stellar, upstanding human being that he is, actually just gave me that snake. I didn't pay for that snake. He shipped me a blue ghost female that I did pay for, and that came along as a freebie. So that was very nice. Some of the people in the reptile community are really awesome, and then there's people like me. I don't know who else is doing what in here. What are you looking like? Are you in shed? Yeah, you're in shed. I was going to grab one of my blue ghost females, but she's in shed. Now she's a little back in her cage. Come on, don't be a bitch. I know, I didn't realize you were in shed. So now you're going to fucking give me an attitude about it. That's cool. Homer Pyle, what are you doing over here? Come here. Here, buddy. This guy hasn't been on the channel yet, so this is a real treat for those of you that hung out. This is a blue ghost male. I got this guy from Chris Kopecki. I forget who originally produced this guy. It was either Keith or Mark. And funny story about this one, actually. We talk about short tails and bloods all the time and how hard they are to sex. I bought this snake as a female. And I paid Chris, and we were waiting to ship. And he sent me a message, and he goes, "We have a problem." And my heart dropped. I'm like, "Oh, great, the snake fucking died, or something really bad happened." And he's like, he showed me some pictures from the snake shedding, and you know, where it had shed off of a hemipene or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, it's definitely a male. You know, checked it out, whatever." And he's a boy. So Chris gave me the option of, you know, getting my money back or still taking him. And I fell in love with this snake the moment that I saw it. He's not fired up right now. He can be very, very blue. He still obviously, I think, looks phenomenal. But when he's fired, he is fired. And so I opted to take him. And hopefully this year I'll pair him up. I paired him to one female once before, and they did lock, but she didn't take. And so I know for sure he's male now anyway, but we'll figure out what I'm going to do with him at some point. I think this year, if that blue ghost female from Rumbly is ready to rock and roll, that I might try for some straight blue ghosts and just see how they come out. She's had 2 clutches, that female. And both clutches had some issues. So I kind of want to see what happens there. You know, and to see how that goes. At some point, I'll get that snake on the channel. Maybe I'll shoot a Meet the Collection on him for this week or something if I get some time. Hopefully I can catch him fired up at some point, but it's so sporadic. And it never seems to be at opportune times. They're always like fired up at like 3 o'clock in the morning when I can't take them out for pictures or anything. But the female, that blue ghost female from Rumbly goes through an incredible change from her fired up to normal. She's like, she goes from like a really dark slate to like bluestone. Like that big of a difference when she's fired down to fired up. And if you saw pictures of her side by side, you would not think it's the same animal. And especially the same animal, not in a shed cycle or anything. It's just fired up versus fired down. So it's pretty cool with a lot of the short tails will fire up and down to some extent. Which is why a lot of times you'll hear me doing videos and say, it really sucks they're not fired up today. 90% of the time they're not fired up when I'm shooting videos, just the way it goes. So I'll get out of here. I'll leave you guys be. Thank you again to Kyle. Thank you again to all of you guys for your support and showing up and, you know, asking all kinds of questions and things like that. Keeping this fun and flowing together. So hopefully you guys enjoy this kind of stuff. I'll try to, like I said, try to mix in these live videos every now and again, do some different stuff. Maybe one of these days when I'm out traveling somewhere, we'll do a live video or something. I had wanted to do it down at Josh's with some herping down there, but I was on the heels of that storm from the hurricane, so it was like unseasonably cold, rainy. So the first like 3 days I was there, it just rained, and then the last 2 days it wasn't very warm. The last day I was leaving was warming up, and then like the next day and the day after, of course, we're back in like the 80s normal weather where the snakes would have been out. It's twice I've been down to his house, and twice I've gotten fucked on weather, where it was unnaturally cold and nothing was out. So hopefully one of these times I can get down there when the snakes are actually out so I can see them, because I want to see them and it'd be cool to do a video. So thank you guys again, and we will see you later. You have a good one as well. Thank you.